Hi. So we're going to talk today about the short story Girl by Jamaica Kincaid. And as you no doubt have noticed after reading it, that it's quite interesting. It's quite different from pretty much any short story you've probably ever read. First, it's incredibly short. Second of all, as we've been talking about narrative elements, there's seven main narrative elements that we've been focusing on. The interesting thing about Girl is that it is missing one of the most popular, one of the most common narrative elements that is out there, and that is plot. There really is no plot in this story. Um, it's just a conversation, I assume, between two people, what appears to be a mother and a daughter. Now, I'm not here to tell you that my interpretation of this short story or any short story or piece of literature is the end all be all. I'm not going to tell you that. You can feel free to agree or disagree with anything that I'm about to say. That's the beautiful thing about English that drives some of you bonkers. Some of you math minded people, you want straight answers. 1 plus 1 equals 2. Well, that's not the case in English. Uh, there is a lot of abstract, there's a lot of interpretation to a lot of different things. And so this story is no exception. But it is missing a conventional plot. Though, even though it doesn't have a plot, it does seem to move forward through time based on the content of what is being discussed. And so let me kind of share with you my thoughts on this as briefly as I can because I don't want to influence you too much. I just want to kind of direct your thinking and kind of back up or kind of explain why I believe what I believe about the interpretation of this. Okay, so I think that this is a story between a mother and a daughter. And the reason I think a mother in particular is because of the content of what they're saying. First of all, this older person seems to be giving a lot of advice about pleasing the opposite sex, pleasing men, or pleasing her father. Okay, and it seems odd that if this was her father talking, that he would be speaking kind of in that third person kind of way, and I don't see it. So I also think that this person is someone who intimately knows our main character. And by intimately, I mean like knows them personally. And so that's why, for these reasons, I think it's a mother. Also, because the content of what this person is saying is, um, and I'm not trying to sound sexist here or anything, but very housewife ish content. Um, and so, for all these reasons, I think that we have a conversation between a mother and a daughter. So, that being said, I think the vast majority of this conversation is being taken up by the mother. She seems to be the one, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this, here's how you do this, here's how you do that. Um, and the daughter seems to be just kind of listening. In fact, I think that there's only two times in this entire story when the daughter actually speaks up. And you can tell that it's the daughter speaking and not the mother because these two spots are indicated by italics. She says, and I'm just looking over my notes here, but I don't sing Benna on Sundays at all and never in Sunday school. And then she says later on towards the end, but what if the baker won't let me feel the bread? Okay, so the first time the daughter speaks, she is defending herself, but I don't do this. Then the second time she speaks, she's asking a question, asking for guidance. And so, if we were to look at this story as a progression through time, which I think it is, more on that in a second, it seems to me almost like the daughter is kind of beaten down by all of the guidance or forceful instruction of her mother, almost to the point where she's become complacent. She's decided to be subservient after all. Um, Speaking of time, I think that this is a progression through time. It seems like an awful lot of material to throw at a son or daughter all in one afternoon sitting. I think this is a progression through time. You can tell a lot from the characters just from this. I just talked about the daughter, how she's defiant at first and then compliant towards the end. Well, look at the mother. Look at how she feels about her daughter. Clearly she doesn't have the uh, most high regard for her daughter, and she keeps calling her a slut multiple times throughout this story, and implying that her daughter is going to do this, that, or the other. Don't do this, don't do that. And then at the very end, when the daughter asks a question, look at how the mother ends it. You mean to say that after all, you're really going to be the kind of woman who the baker won't let near the bread? So again, this mother just doesn't hold her daughter in the highest regard, I don't think. Um, then look at the content of what they're talking about. Um, you have a variety of different topics, some kind of commonplace, some not, but I think that they're kind of broken up into sections. You have a section in there that's talking about housework or house chores, and you have a section on relationships. You have a section on cooking, cleaning, so on and so forth, behavior, and it's all broken up into sections. Uh, Today we're going to talk about behavior. Tomorrow we're going to talk about relationships, and so on and so forth. That kind of uh, organization, if you will. There's a few lines that kind of stood out to me. First of all, there are some words that are put in italics that indicate a region or a location, a setting, if you will. We have the words, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing any of these, dokuna or dokona, and then we have bena and dashin. If you were to look up all of these words, where they come from, the origin of all of these, this puts our story someplace near Barbados, or maybe directly in Barbados. So this is a Caribbean, an island type location, which is further explained by the wharf rat boys and the constant talking about things like fish and how to cook and catch fish and things. You have so that gives us our setting. You have I've already talked about plot, character, setting. You have a certain tone, a derogatory type tone, where the mother seems to be assuming certain things about her daughter that are not kind, not nice. Um, you also have some indication, more characterization about the mother and what kind of person she is and what kind of person she expects her daughter to be. Uh, did you catch the superstition in there? Did you catch the very subtle hint at things like don't throw stones at blackbirds? Well, what is a blackbird? What might it represent? What might a crow or a raven represent in poetry? Quote, the raven, nevermore. If you look at Greek mythology, what do ravens and crows usually signify? What about this is how to make a good medicine to throw away a child before it even becomes a child? That's pretty heavy stuff. What is her mother implying there? Um, there's a lot of things like that in here. And the only thing that is repeated over and over again is that word that I've already mentioned, where the mother just doesn't see her daughter as that good of a person, honestly. Um, so, anyway, there's a lot of stuff that you can dig in deeper, and I don't want to get too detailed into it because I've already run pretty long on my time on this, and also because I want you to think for yourself and answer those questions to the best of your ability. I just wanted to give you some food for thought. So,